Living green or sustainably is about more than saving on your electric bill and doing your part to protect natural resources. It is about a safer and healthier life for you and your family without sacrificing style, quality, or budget. This is a movement to provide all of us with clean air to breathe and water to drink, safe, healthy food to eat, and places to live, and energy to run the places where we live, learn, play, and work. The Green Gab podcast helps you get the value of green for you, your family, and your community. Whether it's green homes, green living, or the people who make it happen, join me, Marla Esser-Close, to learn how green and sustainability practices and products work for our world and you. Welcome to the Green Gab. It's Marla, the Green Home Coach, and I am online today with Gay Harris of Superior Air Quality. How are you today, Gay?
I am awesome.
I love talking to you. We get into, funny conversations about funny things, but from a business perspective.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, my goodness. So, Gay, you and your husband, Mickey, are the founders and owners and, I don't know if you're founders of Superior Air Quality, but I know you're the owners of Superior Air Quality.
We are.
And I believe we met at a home and garden show.
I think so. Which one?
I think it was here in Oklahoma City a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly where it was. Yep. We do so many.
I cannot imagine how many home and garden shows you must know. Quite a few.
Yeah.
How many have you done this year so far?
We've already done 3. And we're starting another one next weekend. And then we have a few more.
It is home and garden show season, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. The main ones are in January, February, March.
Yeah. Well, it's before the weather gets too good so that we go outside and implement all the projects we learned about in the home and garden show.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I first met you and Mickey, I was intrigued with 2 things. Number one, I was intrigued with the name because anything that has green in it catches my attention since I am the Green Home Coach.
Yeah.
And it was green.
It's green.
I'm like looking at this thing, I'm going, this is green screen for multiple reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
I was loving it. And then I got talking to you guys, and you just are fun people to talk to, and you have so much passion for what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about you and Mickey and how this all started.
Well, Mickey and I have worked together for years. We've worked at nonprofits. We worked at a camp, Down Home Ranch. It's a residence for people with mild to moderate mental disabilities out near Austin, east of Austin. We really enjoyed all of our time there. And then we were working for a company that was doing the insulation, the radiant barrier, all the energy things in Austin, how to have better airflow up in your attic and all that stuff. And original owner of the Green Screen came and talked to us about adding it as a product to our tool belt. And so we did. And it just grew and grew, and we did more shows with them. It was a lot of fun starting with this product and watching it grow. So we were their sales managers for years. We worked with them for 9 years. Then about 3.5 years ago, they offered us to take it over. They wanted to retire. So we're like, Yes. We have people that tell us often, they'll call up, do you still have the green screen? It's like once you get hooked on this, there's nowhere else to find it, but we make sure that it's available. An awesome product.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. So you guys have been really committed to green screen for a long time.
Yeah, over 12 years now.
So tell us what's different about green screen. And tell us what it is, first of all, because it is a filter, but it's a very specific filter.
It's an air filter that goes right up in where you buy the box store filters, the pleated ones.
So it's for your heating and cooling system, central systems.
Either goes in your returns or in the unit, depending on where your filter is.
So instead of the pleated ones, you'd use green screen.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Or any of the other options out there.
Okay.
And when we first started selling with this company, we looked at all the independent studies on filters to make sure there wasn't anything better out there. And we couldn't find anything. And a lot of it has to do with its construction. So it layers the dirt in as the air goes through the filter. It has 3 zones. So it layers the dirt in by the size particles. So the air can still get through the filter, even though by the national test it collected around twice as much as like the allergen pleated kind, with 30% better airflow.
What? So how is that possible?
Because it layers the dirt in.
Ah.
So all the pleated, basically they collect, it's called face loading by the industry. All the dirt, small, medium, and large particles are on one surface. That's why they have to put more and more of the fabric. The more you pay, the more pleats there are in it to collect more particles.
Oh, that makes sense.
But once it starts filling up, it dams up the air pretty quick. That's why AC companies tell you to change those every month, no matter what they say, up to 90 days or whatever. But that gets very expensive.
Yeah.
And if you do that, it works fine, but it's the whole airflow issue, So it's kind of the residential filters that you can buy at the store either collect particles because they're tighter woven fabric, or they let the air go through. Well, neither one is a good solution, because if they let air go through, they also let dirt go through. If they collect the small particles, they're also not letting air go through. So when we found the Green Screen, we just fell in love with it. And that last zone, that's the tackiness on the green, really helps with the microscopic particles. That's how we got off our allergy medicine. And we have a lot of good testimonies. It's amazing.
Yeah, we started using it. I don't remember. Sorry. Time has kind of all melded together the last year or so. But yeah, we've been using them. And the other thing I've noticed is my house isn't as dusty.
Yeah.
I mean, we still battle the dust because we're in a new construction area. And we're in Oklahoma, so where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Yes.
So yeah, dust is kind of a way of life around here. But it's better. And I'm happy with better. I will take better.
Yeah. And the average customers notice about 50% less dust. But one thing that they never tell you when they're building a house or you're buying a new one is the location of your filter has a lot to do with how much dust you have in your house, or less dust.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. And it's like, the filter that's closer to the origin of it, closer to the ground on the wall, is going to collect more of the heavy dust. The higher you go, the less heavy dust is going to collect. So the filter works good for all the levels of dust, even the microscopic. But so some of the benefits, like the less dust and stuff, is kind of a subtle thing because it depends on where your filter is.
Right.
But that's what we've learned over the years. And that's why we love talking to people who are building a home. We tell them, okay, well, if you want to know the best place to keep the dust out of your house, this is where you put them. And then we love to help homeowners that have no idea.
Right.
It's when you buy a home and you do the walkthrough, they spend about 2 seconds. So there's your filter. Make sure you change it. But let me show you how the stove works. So very little emphasis is put on the filters.
You bring up such a great thing, because one of the things that I tell realtors in particular, or builders, is if you want to have a hero status in the eyes of your buyers, teach them the simple things about how to operate your home.
Yes, I agree.
How to change the filters, how to adjust the temperature on your hot water tank.
Yeah.
How to program your thermostat.
Exactly.
And how to operate the lights, because now they're really hard with all the fancy automation and lighting.
If you're young and techie, all that stuff comes a little more natural, but...
Well, not always, because some of it's just not intuitive.
That's true.
But yeah, that's how you can be a rock star with your clients, folks. Just show them how to do the basics.
So true.
We all assume that people know how to do this stuff, and we don't.
Exactly. But nobody's taught. And often, like, we've had customers that bought a home for their first time. They always lived in apartments, and the apartment complex would change their filter or not, but they never had to deal with that. And so we had one young woman said that she had been there 7 months, and her boyfriend looked up in the ceiling and go, "Oh, are you going to change your filter?" And she goes, "I have a filter?" So it's not well known or talked about, but really, Marla, it's the number one maintenance issue in your whole house.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, it's the only thing protecting that $5,000 to $15,000 unit.
Yeah. Wow. That is something I don't think we think about.
No. And one thing we learned that was amazing, nobody ever told us, even a 1/16 of an inch on your coil dust on your coils, and that's what gets cold in your house, makes your AC cold, can lower the efficiency by 10%. So when it's real clogged, that's why you hear people's AC freezing up in the summer, because their coils are dirty. And then they got to pay the big bucks to have somebody clean it or change out the unit. So there are very simple things to keep that machine living longer and healthier.
You're reminding me I need to schedule my HVAC tune-up.
There you go.
When I lived in St. Louis, I had a service that I paid an annual fee for, and they came out twice a year and did my checkups. And if I had any repairs to make, I got a pretty nice discount on the repairs. But that was just a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah.
To know that I had that looked at and my units were fairly old.
Yeah.
And that was great because I felt like with that maintenance and taking good care of them, I could extend the life of those expensive systems in my home.
I know. It's so true. And it's so simple. If you're taught the simple things on how to keep that AC living longer and working better, it's pretty simple.
Well, you make such a good point because we have so many younger people moving into their first homes. And I get the feeling that just from a lot of this generation that I've spoken to, they didn't do a lot of stuff around their parents' homes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the parents maybe, had help and stuff. I'm not sure what the story is behind that completely. I have one child that's a millennial, but she got to help out around the house. And she's an architect, so she knows all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But you're so right. They're coming out of these situations where they've lived, where everything has been done for them. And now they're in a situation where they need to go do it for themselves.
Right.
And I don't know how many of them walk into that home with a checklist. So I'm excited to have this whole series of podcasts going out in this series that's all about home operations and maintenance. Yes.
And it'd be really good for, not just new owners, but because we owned multiple houses and the AC, we'd have the twice a year checkup. One out of all of the different AC guys that came out said, hey, change your filter every month. No explanation. We're raising kids. I ain't got the money. Why are you talking to me about doing that? Not any explanation. But when you use those pleated ones, it can be just 2 to 4 weeks and it's starting to dam up the air. And so if you don't change it often enough, then your machine's working harder, your electricity goes up, and then eventually it'll suck in that filter if you've ever seen that, and the air goes around it. And then
I have.
But they don't explain that to you when you buy a home. So that's one thing we're really trying to do in Texas is do a lot more education for new homeowners and for builders, because there's some things that they don't quite understand either as far as where to put the filter. So
let me kind of step back a second and give just a real quick 101 on heating and cooling systems, central systems for our listeners. So you have a central unit somewhere in your home, or sometimes in a basement, sometimes in an attic, sometimes in a garage closet. And that central blower unit is what moves the air through the heating elements or through the cooling elements, depending what time of year it is, and pushes it out to the house, to what we call supplies or registers. You'll often hear them called. So that's where the cold or hot air comes out. So far, am I right?
Yep.
Okay. So you also have another piece of your system called a return. And this is where the air that's inside your home gets sucked in to go into the blower unit to be conditioned, heated or cooled, and then pumped back out to the house. So the air cycles through our homes, right?
Yes.
And there's a whole nother story that we can have with fresh air intakes, but we won't do it on this conversation. I don't know there's enough time for that, Gay.
I know.
So when that return air goes through a filter is when it gets cleaned up to protect us, the people breathing that air, and to protect the equipment. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I bet you a lot of us don't even know that's what returns and supplies do in our heating and cooling systems.
Right. A lot of people have told me they don't really know what those arrows mean on a pleated filters.
And why they're so important.
And why the direction is so important. Right.
Wow.
But it's because we're just not trained.
Jeez. Okay. You're giving me so much to think about. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into a little bit more of the mechanics of how the green screen works.
Perfect.
And some of the really cool benefits of it. So hang tight.
Thanks so much.
5 myths of green homes are 5 things that you probably believe about green homes that may be costing you thousands of dollars. Which myth do you hear the most? Get your copy of 5 Myths at greenhomecoach.com and click on the button for 5 Myths of Green Homes. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Green Home Coach and let me know the green home myth you hear the most. I'll also share tips, products, and resources. Be sure to download your copy of 5 Myths of Green Homes now and then check back to learn more. So gabbing today with Gay Harris of Green Screen. And Gay, I'm fascinated. I have an engineering degree. I didn't practice as an engineer, but have the degree. And I'm sitting here listening to all this going, I should have known all this.
Right.
But it is so helpful to know these things because we just don't know what we don't know.
Right. That's so true. I tell people all the time, it's like, well, if you're going to tell me how to run a software program, as soon as you teach me, I'll know. But until then, forget it. I mean, there's so much to it.
Okay, so you were telling us all about the location of the filters and how important it is for the effectiveness of filtering the air in our houses.
So they measure 3 different levels of dust, heavy, medium, and light. So the further away from the origin of the dust, which is in your carpet, on the ground, when you're carrying it in, it's going to float down. So the closer your filter is to that, the more you collect the heavy particles. So if you're building a custom home, then you tell them you want the filters about a foot off the ground, anywhere from 3 to 9 places around the house, depending on how big your house is, and you'll have way less dust. And if not, at least in the returns, a lot of builders are putting that whole house filter in the attic, in the units. And the main issue with, it does fine for the air conditioner to keep it clean. But if you think about this, all that dust has to go through the ductwork to get there. So not only are you you're not getting the dust collected where you live as much, but you're also having to clean your ductwork every few years. If they keep them in the returns, and the lower they are, like I said, possible, a lot of homes, they can't put them in the walls a foot off the ground because you have to build a 2x6 wall instead of a 2x4 inner wall. But if you can at least have it in the returns, and I know people hate it where builders are putting one in every room because I have to change it, so many of them. But it's actually better.
I'd love to have that.
Yeah, it's better because think of this. You have 1 or 2 filters in the middle of your house. You have a 2,000, 3,000 square foot house. Well, is the dust on the outer areas ever going to get to that filter?
Right.
So if you want the filter just to keep your unit clean, then you can put them anywhere. But if you want it to be to where you're living in a healthier environment with less dust, then you put your filters where they'll capture the most dust.
So the real health benefits of filters in heating and cooling units come from not only the type of filter you use and how often you change it, but where the location is.
Exactly.
So how do you make the best of it in an existing home? For instance, my returns are in my ceiling.
That's not bad.
As are my supplies.
Yeah.
So how do I make the best of the situation, given that this is what I have to work with?
Well, a very simple tip is to keep the dust away is every evening between dinner and bedtime, turn your thermostat fan from auto to on. Doesn't make any difference if your AC or heater's running or not. Or you can, schedule it with those programmable ones.
Yeah, those fancy ones.
And it does it automatically. And some units now will have a lower filtration level, like every 15 minutes, it'll cycle at a lower level. But if you can do that as a habit, then every night when you go to bed, the filter is going to have collected most of the pollens and stuff that came in. And so when the AC or heater's not running, especially, then you'll be able to keep your air a lot cleaner. So that's a very simple practice to do. And doing it regularly every night is a good habit.
Okay.
Because otherwise you forget.
I did not know that. I have learned something new. Thank you.
Yeah, it really helps.
So with our filters being in the ceiling, So, one of the things is like when you vacuum, you hope that some of this will get caught into the filters.
That's another time.
Using a better filtered vacuum, is that a good complement to?
Oh, sure. Anything you could do. There's some good air purifiers out there. We have one on our website that is a air sterilizer, which is amazing. But anything that you can do like that helps. But also, if you're dusting, vacuuming, or having a party, go ahead and slip that thermostat fan back onto on.
Okay.
And let it circulate. So as the dirt is getting stirred up.
So while you're vacuuming and dusting, turn it on.
Exactly. And leave it on about 20 minutes past. So it'll get most of the dirt that has gotten stirred up. That helps.
I think that's the best green clean tip I've gotten in a while.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gay.
Yeah. These are all things we've learned from trial and error and from listening to our amazing customers and different things that they're doing to help out. But so my husband and I, when we started using the filter, the Green Screen, it was in October when we took it on as a product with that other company. And then in January, he wasn't having as many sneezing fits. And I asked our naturopath doctor, I said, look, I know I don't have to take a hanky to bed every night like I used to with waking up sneezing fits, but he's working outside in a ranch at that time. Why is he getting more benefit? And she said, if you sleep at night without all the pollens and things that aggravate your body, it can become less and less sensitive. And sure enough, both of us have gotten off our allergy medicine just because the Green Screen does such a good job of collecting those microscopic particles. And that's because of that practice of running AC fan, the thermostat fan. Because if you don't, and there's no AC or heater running, then nothing's getting filtered.
But it's just sitting in the air.
Yeah.
And then it settles back onto the surfaces.
Yeah, in your carpets on.
Yeah, I'm like so excited to go clean my house now.
Turn that thermostat fan on.
I think the filters are due for a change too, so I'll just do it all at once.
That's a great idea.
I'm going to let you know how that goes, okay, Gay?
Okay, please do. Yeah, so I'm going to show you this filter. This is the Green Screen. It has a permanent aluminum frame, and this is all you change out. And the reason why this works so well, it's a commercial grade filter. It's been around for a long time, but we've been selling it residentially, us and the original company, about 30 years. So the reason it works, as I told you, it layers the dirt in, but this green part traps the microscopic. And because it layers it in, that air can get through the filter the whole life of it, not just at the beginning like depleted. So it works great.
If you are not watching the video and seeing this, you may want to go check it out. There will be a link in the bottom of the show notes. But it's almost like a fabric sandwich, shouldn't it?
Yeah, kind of like.
It almost looks like batting.
Yeah, like a piece of fabric, but it's inch thick.
But so they're what, about half an inch, 3/4 of an inch thick?
They're an inch thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have to kind of, get ours fitted into the edge of the frame.
Yeah. And there's a good video on the website of how to do that simply.
Okay. Well, we'll put that resource in there too, if we can, just because that'll help people visualize it a lot better. That's a great idea. But it's this tackiness too is that on the green side, the tackiness?
Yes. It's baked in the green. All of this is non-caustic and it's non-migrating, so you don't have to worry about anybody with sensitivities. But the white also has antimicrobial baked into it, which won't allow mold, mildew, or fungus to live. It just, when it touches it
dies.
It destroys it. So it's really good.
So really good for cold and flu seasons too.
Yeah. Flus, some of those bacteria and stuff are smaller in the air than filters. So still, if you have severe problems with it, I would get a good air purifier.
Cool.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can do custom sizes, can't you?
Every size. And we can build the ones that are in the attic, the ones that we don't really like, but at least it's a better filter for your attic. It's a 4-inch box frame we build, and there's a 2-inch fabric because that's as thick as they make it. And you don't want any more, it would have been too restrictive, but it works great. Just like the Green Screen collected more particles than the MERV 11 pleated, but it had 30% better airflow. The 2-inch orange does the same for those box filters that are in the attic. So
why do we not just want to put in like a higher filtrating, thicker filter that we buy at the big box store on our units.
Well, the higher the MERV, the more particles.
Explain what MERV is.
And MERV is just it's a general description. You can look it up. It's kind of technical, but it's just showing you the size particles basically that it collects.
So the higher the MERV, the smaller the particles.
That's right. But in the format of a pleat, it also makes it more restrictive. So that's an issue.
So you could jeopardize the efficiency or even the operation of your heating and cooling unit if you put too restrictive of a filter in.
Oh, definitely. That's why a lot of AC companies we hear it all the time. They tell their customers buy the cheapest filter because it has the best airflow. But then it also lets the dirt go through. So then you have to get your coils clean, your ducts clean, and all that. And it doesn't really help with the dust much in your house.
So that's the best part about Green Screen is you can have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that. It's so true.
Hey, this is Marla Close, the Green Home Coach, and I am the author of Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home. And in this book, besides talking about a bunch of stuff about green and sustainability products and practices you can easily take in your home, also talk about home maintenance and how important this is to having a home that serves you rather than you serving it. Seasonal home maintenance checklists are a big part of this, and I teamed up with colleague Tina Gleisner from Home Tips for Women to use her maintenance checklist, actually included in the book, starting on page 96. And if you have the book, look them up. But I wanted to give you a brief excerpt from the book to get you excited about why home maintenance checklists, I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but why they are so important. So, maintaining a home is actually a 3-part ongoing process: inspect, maintain, and update. To help you keep track of what you've done and plan to do, make notes on the checklist. First, inspect. If you've only got an hour to spare, pick one exterior side of the house or one room inside to inspect. Note the date you did this on the checklist and flag items needing maintenance or repairs so you can schedule time or make a list for your handyman or handywoman. Second, maintain. Keep your home safe, such as smoke detector batteries. Keep your home energy efficient, like furnace air filters, and prolong the useful life of many home features, like caulking bathroom tile. Write it down when you complete a task. Keeps you from guessing later on. And third, update. Take advantage of improved materials and fixtures. Upgrade to new building codes and evaluate when it makes more sense to make an improvement rather than repair, such as replacing a bathroom floor rather than repairing the grout. Check out the book or give me a holler and I'll hook you up online to get the maintenance checklist for yourself. If you'd like to have the entire book, please go to livinggreenbook.com for a multitude of ways to purchase it for yourself. Thanks again. This is Marla, the Green Home Coach. So, Gay, you've given me this amazing tip to run the fan while I'm cleaning the house.
On your thermostat? Yep.
Yeah. So you just go to your thermostat and you put fan to on?
Yep. It'll
what?
Be, that's
15, 20 minutes?
Well, as long as you're doing your work, like vacuuming or dusting or having a party, then when the event's over, leave it on about 20 minutes, then turn it back to auto.
Okay.
Or, like I said, we do it every evening, and that way when your AC or heater's not running, you're still cleaning the air out before you go to bed, and that's how we've gotten off our allergy medicine. Because there were weeks that our AC or heater didn't run, and all my dust came back and all my allergy symptoms. I'm like, oh, light bulb came on.
Yeah, it's such a simple solution, but I didn't even think about that. And
yeah.
So if you're in the middle of the winter or a really hot summer when your fan is running a lot, do you still need to do that?
Only if you're the kind that has to have a habit. You'd have to
program it on your thermostat.
Yes, exactly. You can program it, that's best, program it, because it is a good habit to have. And if you turn it on, some people worry about, well, do I change my thermostat? And you don't. All you're doing is turn your thermostat. But with the Green Screen because of a little better airflow. Most people have to turn their thermostat up a degree or two in the summer because it gets too cold. Because of good airflow. So, yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
So, folks, your thermostat says fan on, off, or auto.
Yes, you're right.
And most of us leave our fan in auto.
Yes.
So in order to do this little tip that Gay's telling us about, set your fan to on while you're cleaning, while you have people there, while you're stirring things up a lot.
And every evening between dinner and bedtime, if you're.
And then put it back on auto.
Yes.
You'll be good.
And I did have a customer that left it on fan all the time. You know, they're those people you tell them a good tip and they go, well, a little's good, but let's do it all the time. Well, that actually could put too much moisture in your house. Yeah. And she called me back. Did you know that can cause? It's like, yeah, that's why. So unless your unit is set with the lower setting that circulates every 15 minutes or something, then make sure you don't leave that fan on all the time.
Okay. Too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
So I am hoping that our listeners are as excited about trying Green Screen as I was. Scott, my husband, and I were so excited to bring it home and give it a go. And now that I know how to make it more effective, I'm like, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go start because I'm really excited. But I am really excited that I'm going to be helping you guys to get the word out and to get this out to our listeners. So how do we get them there, Gay?
So if you go to greenscreenairfilter.com and you put in the coupon code when you check out Green Home Coach, then your customers will have 10% off their first order. And that's just a good way to get started. But we want to make sure that your customers know that they can call us at the office if they have an unusual situation in their house, or they'd like information on, you know, their filters, where they're supposed to put them when they're building or any of that. And they're still, you know, we just want to help people out. So anytime they call, make sure they mention Green Home Coach.
And y'all, when you go to the website, Green Screen Air Filters.
Filter, singular.
Filter, that's right. No plural. Filter.
No
it
plural.
Is a filter.
Greenscreenairfilter.com.
This is why it's ice cream for green screens.
Yeah.
It's a tongue twister. When you go there, you will find all of the contact information for Gay and Nikki, and they are so knowledgeable, y'all. I can't tell you how much I've learned from you, Gay, and I really, really appreciate you taking this and sharing it with all of us so that we too have the opportunity to have these great benefits in our home.
That's our heart, because we owned multiple homes and nobody explained it to us. So this information is huge and it's so simple. So we love to get the word out.
We love simple.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I cannot tell you enough how much I have just been so thankful that we met you and that we've had an opportunity to start working with you. Yes. So as we're wrapping up today, what is the one thing you'd like to leave our listeners with?
You know, I think one of the main things in life in general is to laugh more. And when there's more joy and you laugh more, actually, I used to think that meant I was too shallow or it was too simple. But really, the more I realized the laughter is healing and its joy is so important and it keeps you enjoying the life that God gave us.
Could not agree more. I cannot thank you enough for your joy and what you do and the joy that you bring to others in doing it so very well. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much for letting us be on. It's just been a pleasure to get to meet you, and all your knowledge is amazing. When we got together last time we were in Oklahoma City, I was just sitting there with my mouth open. It's like, you know, you have such a heart to explain all these really important things to people that you don't get to learn in just everyday life. So we're so grateful that you even care about the product that we are passionate about.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know what? Together we're going to, rising tides raise all boats. So we will rise the tides.
Sounds awesome. Thanks so much, Marla. Yeah.
Well, hey, y'all, this wraps up another episode of the Green Gab podcast. Please subscribe, review, and help us get this show and the word and this heart out to more people. We so appreciate you for all of your hard listening and all the things you get to do. Have a great Green Day. That wraps up this episode of the Green Gab podcast. Ready to use what you learned? Get the show notes with all the resources mentioned in this episode. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thank you again for listening and for leaving a review. And remember that living a little greener is easier than you think.